Everyone in Canada has a strong opinion about renting versus buying. Almost nobody backs it up with actual evidence. Today, I'm giving you the evidence-based answer using real 2026 data so you can see exactly when buying wins, when renting wins, and why the answer is probably not what you've been told. This matters because it's likely the single biggest financial decision you'll ever make. Get it right, and you could be hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead by retirement. Get it wrong, and you could spend decades locked into a decision that never made sense for your situation in the first place. So let's separate the emotion from the math. Start with buying, because most people only see one number, the mortgage payment. That's not the real cost. The average home price in Canada right now sits around $660,000, down more than 15% from the 2022 peak. To buy that home, with a standard 20% down payment, you need about $132,000 in cash before you even get the keys. Add closing costs, legal fees, and land transfer tax, and your total upfront cost is closer to $160,000. Then there's the mortgage itself, with 5-year fixed rates currently in the low to mid 4% range, and Canada's mortgage stress test requiring you to qualify at your contract rate plus 2%. Your effective qualifying rate is often above 6%. That's the number the bank uses to decide how much they'll lend you, even though it's not the rate you'll actually pay. It's one of the most misunderstood parts of the entire home buying process, and it's exactly why so many people get pre-approved for far less than they expected. But the mortgage payment is only one piece of the real cost of owning. On top of principal and interest, you're paying property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and if you're in a condo, monthly maintenance fees that can run anywhere from $400 to over $1,000 a month depending on the building. None of that goes toward equity. It just goes out the door, the same as rent does. Let's make this concrete with 2 real Canadian cities, because the answer genuinely depends on where you live. First, Toronto. The average condo there right now runs around $690,000. Put 20% down, and your mortgage is about $550,000, which works out to roughly $3,050 a month in principal and interest at current rates. Add condo fees around $650 and property tax around $300, and your total carrying cost lands close to $4,000 a month. Now compare that to renting a similar one-bedroom unit in Toronto, which averages around $2,400 a month. That's a gap of roughly $1,600 every single month in favor of renting. Invest that difference at a reasonable long-term return, and over 10 or 15 years, the renter can end up with a larger net worth than the owner, even after accounting for the equity the owner built up. This is the scenario that surprises people the most, because Toronto is exactly the kind of market where the renting is throwing money away advice falls apart under real numbers. Now flip it and look at Regina. The average home price there is around $360,000. 20% down puts your mortgage at about $288,000, which comes out to roughly $1,600 a month in principal and interest. Add property tax and insurance, and you're looking at a total carrying cost of somewhere around $2,000 a month. Renting a comparable house in Regina runs about $1,800 to $2,000 a month. In a market like this, owning and renting cost almost exactly the same on a monthly basis, but the owner is building equity with every payment while the renter is not. That's a market where buying wins almost by default, because you're not paying a premium to own. Same country, same year, same interest rates, 2 completely opposite answers. That's the part nobody puts in the headline, because it depends on your city doesn't get clicks. But it's the truth, and it's the only version of this advice that will actually make you money instead of costing you money. So how do you figure out which side of that line your own city falls on? Look at the price-to-rent ratio, take the home price, and divide it by the annual rent for a comparable property. As a general rule, a ratio above 20 tends to favor renting, the way we just saw play out in Toronto. A ratio below 15 tends to favor buying, the way we just saw play out in Regina. Most major Canadian cities right now sit somewhere in between, which is exactly why this isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, no matter how confidently someone on the internet tells you otherwise. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Renting is not throwing money away. And buying is not automatically building wealth. Both are financial strategies with real costs and real trade-offs. The right choice depends on your specific city, your specific timeline, and what you'd actually do with the money if you didn't put it into a down payment. If you're not disciplined enough to actually invest the difference, renting won't build you wealth either. The math only works if you follow through on both sides of it. Before you make this decision, run your own numbers. Look up your city's actual average home price and actual average rent. Calculate your own price-to-rent ratio, and be honest with yourself about how long you're actually planning to stay. That 15 minutes of math will tell you more than any opinion you'll hear from a realtor, a landlord, or frankly, from me. If this helped you see the decision more clearly, subscribe for more evidence-based breakdowns of the financial decisions that actually matter, and drop a comment telling me whether you're currently renting or buying and why. I read every single one.